everyone, Professor August here, and I just got off work. I am heading home, and it's bumper to bumper traffic, and the car is in auto drive, so don't worry too much about me not paying attention to the road. I am, and all the safety features are on. Okay, so I had a really interesting conversation with one of my students. She came into the office, and I asked her if I could do a video about this. I'm not going to reveal any information about her, but um, the conversation was about her losing a friend, and she's 20, so losing a friend at that age is really difficult. I know because I've gone through it. Um, but the explanation she gave me for the reason why she doesn't want to lose that friend is they've been friends since they were in elementary school, so it's a really long lived friendship. But now they don't really have much in common. They don't really spend a whole lot of time together, and it's becoming more and more difficult for them to find time or even things to do with one another. And so that was the conversation we had. And part of our conversation was me telling her about two friends that I've cut out of my life. One was when I was around her age. So I was 2021 when it happened. And it was really difficult because this was somebody that I'd spent so much time with. Every day we were in the same class together. We worked together. And then after that, we'd go and we sit in a cafe and do our work. So, like, day in, day out, even on weekends, we were seeing each other. But I'm not gonna like rehash what happened a long time ago in my life, but it turns out that she and her mother, who had invited me over, they were kind of racist. Um, they had invited me over, and I took the person I was dating at the time over for dinner, and we had a lovely time. But after dinner, it became really clear that we were no longer welcome in the house. So when I confronted my friend about it, she said that I was welcome to go back to their house whenever, but the friend I'd taken was not allowed to go back anymore. And so that really just rubbed me the wrong way. Given the trajectory of my life and where I am now, what I've ended up doing with my life, it sort of made sense that at the age of 20, this sort of injustice didn't sit well with me. Now I teach ethnic studies, so a whole part, like the entirety of my job, is justice and equity and equality and making sure that everybody lives life with dignity. So now that I know the stuff that I know, I think I would have dealt a little differently with that situation back when I was 20 years old. But more recently, I also lost a friend who I cut out of my life because we have very different moral stances about different things. Politically, we're more or less aligned. Um, that wasn't the issue. It's the fact that even with people who I have political alliances with, people who on paper we would seem like we would just click and always be really good friends. It was the case until this one issue came up, which was Palestine. And so I, like most people in this country, believe that genocide is bad, and what has been happening in the Middle East is a disaster for the Palestinians. When I look at it historically, it is. When I look at it as a circumstantial thing, just in the last couple of years, it's terrible. Um, and it doesn't take away from anybody else's pain. It's just to point out that there's this one group that has suffered for a very long time. Morally, it's difficult for me to have a conversation with somebody who is okay with genocidal tendencies, meaning that they're okay with the decimation or destruction of an entire ethnic religious group anywhere. So it's not just Palestine, but you can pick Sudan, you can pick Myanmar, you can pick Pakistan or northern India. I mean, like, there's no shortage of these things going on in the world. But I'm pretty consistent all across the board with my opinion of genocide. And this friend of mine was not. And she and her family went over and beyond in their public postings on social media to showcase how okay they are with genocide. And that was really problematic for me. I don't even know if they realized, I'm sure they did because they're educated human beings. They knew exactly what they were doing. And when I confronted her, um, the response I got was not what I wanted. It was not oh, I see what you're saying, or oh, maybe I should tone it down, or maybe I should tell my family to tone it down. No, it was squarely in the camp of I don't like brown people, I don't like Muslims, I don't like the Palestinians, and I am fine with what's happening to those people. Those people are not the same as me. From a moral perspective, I can't abide by that. And this is somebody who I've known for 20 years. We grew up together, went to school together, went to college together, were around for each other's marriages and kids and growing up. But at a certain point, it became easier to just cut ties because I didn't want to deal with that extra burden that was sort of killing my soul to try and compartmentalize knowing this about this one person and saying, okay, I'm just going to leave that part of it aside and we're only going to focus on other parts of our lives, when morality and human dignity kind of underscores everything I do in my life and my job. So I couldn't ignore it. So I just had to cut this person out. They reached out a few times. I never responded because I don't see the point in responding or engaging when we're so entrenched in our own beliefs. And like, it's really hard to discuss morality with somebody when we're so polar opposites. When I look at the issue and I think I'm wholly correct, and she looks at the issue and she thinks she's wholly correct, there's not a lot of common ground to be had. And so it was just easier to let go. But also, there's just a pragmatic aspect to this. The older I get, and this is what I was talking to my student about, the older I get, the easier it is to sort of just like move beyond certain people because we have busy lives. I have a job, I have a full time job, I have a home life. I have to commute back and forth between my job and my home. Um, when I want to try to maintain friendships, it's moments like this when I'm in a car, when I have a call with a friend, or when I get home, I have, um, like an afternoon cocktail on Zoom with a friend, especially friends who live far away from me. And so that's kind of a difficult thing to maintain when you don't have time. And it's even harder to justify when it's somebody who you can't connect with on a very basic level anymore. So, my advice to the student was like, yes, it's a hard thing to do and it's hard to go through it right now, but it also builds up that um, sort of emotional memory so that when you go forward in life, it's not going to be as hard anymore to realize the types of people you want to have in your life, and you'll be able to sort of frame your friendships and curate the groups that you're in to be with people you want to be with, people who are good people, people who are emotionally intelligent, people who are there for you whenever you need them, and people who are just morally upstanding human beings. And it's okay to start doing that at the age of 20, even though at the age of 20, it might be harder because, you know, like for some people, adulthood hasn't set in yet. Like for me, adulthood didn't set in until like way later in my 20s. So those pressures of adulthood, they didn't set in. So at 20, some people have a lot of adult responsibilities, but a lot of people don't. And because they don't, then their friendships become the most important things in their lives. And losing that friend becomes really hard. It's traumatic and stressful, which it is. I went through it. I understand that. And so my only advice to her was to make the decision. If she's going to do it, like follow through, but make sure she's doing it for the right reasons. Like don't do it just because you're busy, but if there's actually something that you guys have moved apart in your lives and you don't agree with anymore, you don't have a lot in common anymore, and it's just kind of stressful to try and maintain the friendship, then yeah, it's okay to move on. um, Other people are doing it, you're going to be doing it, you'll be doing it a lot more the older you get. You'll find new friends who are closer to you in age or also who work with you. I heard this fantastic phrase I hadn't even thought about before, which is um, circumstantial friends. So, like, yes, we all have our family by blood, which is our relatives, but we also have our family by choice. These are family friends we have brought into the fold who we take care of and they take care of us. But we also have circumstantial family. These are people we work with on a regular basis and we see constantly on a day to day basis at work. and we create emotional connections with them, and they become our close friends. And so I was explaining all of this to her, hoping that some of this resonates, because later on in life, she'll see that this is all bearing out to be true. And for now, she's hurting, and I know a lot of people are hurting. I sure as hell am, with everything that has gone on with my friend group. Um, but yeah, I wanted to just pop on and make this little video and hope it helps her when she sees this, and to anybody else who's struggling, like friendship struggle busing, man, it is not easy, but we all have to go through it at some point or another. Okay, I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe below. Catch you in the next video.